Imagine that you're looking to buy a car. You walk into a dealership and find the exact type of car that you want and are told by the salesperson that you can buy it for $9,400. You know that's a bargain because you've seen the same car at other dealerships priced at much closer to $10,000, so you excitedly agree. When the salesperson comes back with the paperwork drawn up, however, you're told that a mistake was made with the figures and that the car would actually end up costing $10,100. Do you still buy it even when the bargain incentive is gone? This technique is called lowballing, and it's found that most people do still buy the car, since it's only a little higher than they were expecting to spend in the first place, and an illusion of irrevocability is created by the verbal agreement to buy the car. Although this example shows the more deceitful side of using psychology as a tool to enhance persuasive communication, psychology can also be used in ways that bring out truthfulness in situations that normally might be masked by discomfort or already in place biases. In this speech, I'm going to talk about psychological techniques that can be used as tools to enhance persuasive communication, such as cognitive dissonance, the heuristic systematic model of persuasion, and powerful body language. Cognitive dissonance is the unpleasant feeling that accompanies a contradiction in one's thoughts and behaviors, and it's a feeling that most people try to correct immediately by either changing their behavior or their belief about the behavior. For example, if a person believes that recycling is very important and they stop recycling, that would create cognitive dissonance. To eliminate that dissonance, the person would have to either decide that recycling isn't that important, or they would have to resume recycling. It's been shown that this effect can be used to helpfully persuade people into recognizing dissonance in their own lives and take steps towards stopping harmful behaviors with a process called hypocrisy induction. According to the book Social Psychology by Elliot Aronson, Timothy Wilson, and Robert Ackert, this hypocrisy induction was first theorized with a study by Aronson and colleagues in 1991. In the study, college students were asked to write a speech about the dangers of AIDS and unprotected sex. Half of the students just wrote the speech, and half of the students were asked to record themselves giving the speech and were told that the video would be shown in high school. Additionally, half the students in each condition were asked to write down situations that made using condoms difficult or impossible. Students in the condition that were recorded and made to think about times they didn't practice safe sex were much more likely to purchase condoms at a cheap price when given the opportunity after the speech. They were also much more likely to continue practicing safe sex months after the study. This group was the highest in cognitive dissonance because they weren't practicing what they preached and felt compelled to change it. Cognitive dissonance is a powerful communication tool because it forces people to look at contradictions in their own behavior and make changes that allow them to be the person that they want to be. Another tool used to persuade others is the heuristic systematic model of persuasion, a theory developed by Shelley Chaikin in 1987, according to the book Social Psychology by Aronson, Wilson, and Ackert. The term heuristic refers to mental shortcuts, or in this case, how people decide what their feelings are towards something without calculating every aspect of the situation. When it comes to evaluating our attitudes towards things, our emotions at the time of the decision are often the deciding factors, which is normally a good rule of thumb. If we feel good while doing an activity, that's usually a good indication that we enjoy that activity. However, sometimes we end up attributing good or bad emotions to situations when our emotions actually came from somewhere else. Applying this to persuasion, when attempting to change an attitude as a way of changing a belief, it's important to use an approach that uses the same basis of reasoning. For example, using emotional appeals to try to persuade someone of an emotionally based issue is going to work a lot more effectively than using a figures-based argument against an emotionally based issue and vice versa. The heuristic systematic model of persuasion is exemplified especially in advertisements, when social products are marketed with cool messages and practical objects are marketed with rational facts. Both of the previous two examples dealt with appeals that are used to change minds based on feelings towards the subject. However, what happens when you have an immense amount of confidence in the subject that you're trying to promote, but not in your ability to effectively promote it? Social psychologist Amy Cuddy spoke about the effect that body language can have on the way that you present yourself to others in her TED Talk called Your Body Language Shapes Who You Are in 2012. She discovered that using power poses, which are poses that spread out your body in a position of strength, such as putting your hands on your hips and standing with your feet wide apart, actually increases a person's testosterone level, which helps self-confidence, and decreases their cortisol level, which helps their stress level. This happens all in the matter of 2 minutes. When a study was done in which half the participants power posed for 2 minutes before an interview and half didn't, those that posed presented themselves in such a confident way that the interviewers picked the power posers over the others without even knowing who posed. This is a different kind of persuasion because it's more about persuading ourselves into feeling confidence than it is about persuading others of our own confidence. This is an important technique for high-stress situations, but also for those who could use a boost in confidence in everyday situations. Doing power poses before class could give you the confidence to speak up and ask questions, or even to more effectively interact with peers in a fulfilling way. One of the tricks to communication is actually having the confidence to begin. Psychology and communication are not unrelated concepts. Using psychology as a tool to effectively communicate is very powerful because you're able to get behind why people think the way that they do and use it to your advantage when presenting information. Cognitive dissonance The heuristic systematic model of persuasion and powerful body language can all be effectively used for persuasion, and knowing about the psychological processes behind them make us less susceptible to being deceived by advertising or societal norms into thinking that we believe things that we really don't. Knowing when our beliefs are contradictory, being made aware that our feelings about a subject might not actually be our opinion on the subject, and allowing ourselves to be as confident in our abilities as we can be are all effective and important communication skills. By making sure that arguments are as salient as they can possibly be, and that you're presenting in the most confident way that you can, you're allowing both the argument and yourself to live up to their full worth, a combination that's impossible to beat.